Welcome to my review of the Helldivers 2 Warbonds. I don't think I've done this before. Let's get cracking. With the S tier Warbond off rip, we got Democratic Detonation. It's the best one you can get for your money, considering you got the crossbow. Closes bug nests, does decent damage. Grenade pistol, absurdly good utility. S tier sidearm. Eruptor, very good gun. S to A tier, depends. Part of me wants to put it a bit lower just because I miss Southwest. Expert Extraction Pilot. People sleep on this, but it's very useful if you're trying to farm experience for guns, medals, and beat missions by shaving off some time if you can beat the mission very quickly. Turning a 7-8 minute mission into a 6-minute mission with this, that's pretty good. Thermites. One of the best grenades in the entire game. S tier, no question. Adjudicator. It's an assault rifle. Go ahead and look at the first paid Warbond the game ever released, Steeled Veterans. I used to like this Warbond a lot because I was once upon a time a Jar 5 enthusiast. I was the guy knocking on your door preaching the gospel on this weapon. Nowadays, I do not think it holds up. You'll see videos saying it's amazing. You can use it if you want, but the gun just has absurdly slow projectiles that I'm pretty sure have drop off when you fire the shot. But regardless, the bullets are traveling as if they're being carried by a pigeon. The Ensign Breaker, I believe, is being phased out by the Cookout. Because they buffed fire damage so much that you can shoot an enemy, wait for the fire dot to go away, shoot it again, and it'll likely die. I believe that applies to Alpha Commanders. For sure applies to Overseers. You're better off having a gun that can stun them and then reapply the fire dot and they're dead. Armor is, again, some basic stuff. Not a big deal. And the Lib Concussive. I don't like it. Moving on. Senator. Was a big fan of this gun too, but guess what? They nerfed the weapon's sway, making it worse. So if you're sprinting for a second or two, and then you go to shoot while standing still or even laying down, it takes a second or so for your reticle to steady up and be precise. That is garbage. I would say it's unacceptable. For those reasons, this Warbond is C tier. We'll go into Cutting Edge, so I don't lose track where we're at. Arc Blitzer. People really like this gun. It still shoots dead bodies, and sometimes you'll be pretty much point blank, but not too close, because if you're too close, it won't actually hit the target you're aiming at. But you'll be very close to a target, and you shoot, and it should one-shot it, and it doesn't die. The Dagger is... no. Sidearms that do damage and don't have any real utility, ain't it, Chief? Arc Armor. Pretty good considering they just launched a Warbond that has a certain backpack that will team kill for fun. The Plasma Punisher. I think the damage it does is pretty bad. I believed that for a long time now, and it would explain itself given that it may be bugged. Stun Grenades are just a far worse version of gas grenades, considering that gas grenades now CC enemies. More on that later. The Sickle. When it had infinite ammo, I enjoyed it. It was a bug you could do, and the gun just never lost ice, essentially. But now you have to sit there and pepper a little bit. I still like it. There's just a much better version of this weapon, being the double-edged sickle. Localization Confusion. As far as I know, this will make it so patrols don't happen as often. I don't like that, because patrols equal more kills, and more kills makes the game more fun. It's a C-tier Warbond. Freedom's Flame. You have Firebomb Hellpods. You drop anything in the game, basically. So your stratagems, whether it's going to be your support weapon, your turrets, doesn't really matter. Even your teammate respawns. Those will now emit a AoE of fire that will damage teammates. Crisper. Freaking godlike. For a sidearm, it does a lot of damage. You can take out... people don't know this, or maybe they do and they just don't care. You can take out tanks, Factor Striders, and a whole bunch of other enemies with the Crisper if you get close enough. I think that's freaking awesome. It is fun. It's unique. It's useful. It requires some finesse and getting really close and putting yourself in danger. Torture. As far as I know, it only does a little bit less damage than the Flamethrower. And again, it can also kill the same thing that Crisper can in terms of automaton enemies very quickly. And the Cookout. One of the best, if not the best shotguns in the game currently. It's been in that position for a long time now. And the armor is inflammable. Resistance to fire damage, which is very good with a other weapon that we'll be talking about here momentarily. I'm gonna give it A tier because Cookout, Crisper, and even Torture, like those are good guns. Urban Legends, anti-tank emplacement. This is one of, if not honestly, the best stratagem in the entire game. just because of how much overall raw damage you're outputting. It's also very easy to aim. Armor is siege ready, faster reload for all primary weapons, and increased ammunition for all guns that don't have a support backpack. It's good, but it's also insanely lame. They can now make guns that have bad reload speed and terrible ammo economy, and you're encouraged to use the armor. And by the way, they took away spare ammunition a while back, and then after that, this armor came out. Flame Sentry. It destroys itself constantly. It's not a complaint. That's just real news. It is not immune to fire. So when it's attacking enemies that get somewhat close, it'll light itself on fire, and fire damage doesn't go through enemies like it used to. It stops on the first guy. So you have a train being ran on your turrets, and there's not a whole lot you can do against that. Armed resupply pods. It's cute. All this does is make it so your resupply, so the only thing it affects, will have a liberator on top of it. The stun lance. It's fun to use for maybe a mission or two, maybe 5 or 6. It depends. To really commit to the bit and use the ballistic shield, which will block melee attacks and allow you to actually fight back. The issue I have is when you stun an enemy with this lance, which it does do, it knocks them back as well. So I'm using a melee weapon, I'm attacking enemies, I'm knocking them back, making it harder for me to hit them with my melee weapon. I wish it just simply stunned them in place so I could keep beating the brakes off them. It is cool how you can kill a charger through its armor though. Directional shields. It's more like a meme in a sense. You can bring this and you can sit there and try and protect sieve troopers and have them kill everything for you as like a challenge run. But it's not very good. And if you get hit by any rockets on the automatons, for instance, you're gonna get ragdolled, I'm pretty sure. Overall, I give that another A. Servants of Freedom. This one has some funny stuff going on. Wait a minute, this thing is godlike. Double-edged sickle, or as we call it here, the decal. This thing is awesome. You do have to build around it. Reason why? When using double-edged sickle, you'll damage yourself by building up heat as you fire, and that hurts you. So you want to be bringing the inflammable armor from the Freedom Flames Warbond that gives you reduced fire damage taken. But in doing so, when you're building up heat for the gun, you're increasing the armor penetration level all the way up to heavy pin. You can use this weapon and kill so many automatons and so many illuminate. It's honestly the best AR in the entire game if you can classify it as that, which I kind of do. And it's very fun to shoot. It's ideal to bring supply backpack if you don't have a stim jockey sitting there stimming you on cooldown with a stim pistol. If you have one of those, you're freaking set. Bring that heavy fire armor and just lay down and fire. Also, laying down with this weapon makes it so you don't get set on fire, so you're taking a lot less damage. The armor. Integrated explosives. Armor explodes 1.5 seconds after wearer dies. Increase initial inventory and holding capacity of throwables by +2. If you could somehow increase the radius, I think it'd be way cooler, because then you'd be justified in just sitting there and going in and committing Sudoku. Ultimatum. This thing got nerfed to the ground. Okay, it didn't get nerfed to the ground. It's still good, but they did nerf it. One of the nerfs I was okay with was making it so you can no longer destroy stratagem jammers, the things that make it so you can't call in stratagems at all. And also you can't destroy detector towers, the Eye of Sauron. Luckily, you can still launch the shot twice as far by simply having a different gun out, switching weapons, holding the fire button, and once you pull out the ultimatum, it goes staying near 80 plus meters, which is pretty good. They also nerfed the damage. It can still one-shot tanks, hulks, and maybe factory striders if you get underneath them, but now you probably just for sure die. And you can't one-shot factory strider feet anymore because they buffed their feet. It's got foot fetishes, bunch of weirdos. Seeker grenades. What they lack in utility, they also lack in viability, preciseness, and damage. These things are pretty freaking terrible. You can ping your targets, and usually they'll go for that thing you ping, but even still, they ain't doing a whole lot. Hellbound backpack is super good. If you do get a stratagem jammer tower on your missions, you can bring the backpack and an FRV and just simply drop that out of range, drive in, drop the Hellbound backpack, leave. If you're doing the orbital rail cannon mission for automatons, bring the backpack, drop it, break the objective, and leave. If you're fighting the Illuminate and you get that one tower objective, you toss in a Hellbomb. That's pretty hard to do sometimes because you have the whole armada against you at that very moment. Drop the Hellbomb backpack, activate it, and leave. It's freaking good. I'm gonna say A tier because realistically, I don't use the decal that much. If I used it more, my bias would take over and give it a higher rating. Borderline Justice. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see many folks using the hover pack or the Deadeye, even though it's a recent warbond, and everyone loves defending recent warbonds, saying that they're really awesome, you don't understand. Meanwhile, folks don't really use them after about a week or two. The Deadeye can still miss shots that are perfectly on target because of random stuff that I can't explain. You're 10 feet away, 10 meters away from an enemy, your reticle, your sight is in the middle of their forehead. You pull the trigger and they don't die. It mostly happens with this gun because I use the Diligence, which is another marksman rifle, and I be hitting heads a lot. Very consistent. This gun does not feel consistent, not one bit. So if they could fix that, I'd probably enjoy it a lot. It also feels kind of floaty. It has the same jankiness as the DCS and the AMR right now, where you're shooting those guns. They don't feel very good to shoot. They handle like trucks. Gunslinger. Increased sidearm reload speed by 40%, sidearm draw holster speed increased by 50%, and sidearm recoil reduced by 70%. They made it so sidearms are worse now by having them, they increased the drag, which means that your shots do less damage from distance, and they've also made the sway worse. So you can quick draw, but if you're sprinting and then again you quick draw your sidearm, you're gonna have to wait a second for the shot to be consistent. Talon. This gun had really bad sway before. It's even worse now. Medium pin though, infinite ammo if you don't fire more than 7 shots at one time, I believe, and 200 damage. It does good damage. Honestly, for being a sidearm, it's better than a lot of primaries. Hover pack. This thing's pretty fun. There are some very interesting stuff you can do with it, so I'll give this... Like, I think the hover pack is honestly an A tier weapon in terms of creativity. You can hover pack in the air, toss a cluster bomb beneath you, or cluster strike, and you'll be completely unscathed. Another cool thing you can do is use a flamethrower and kill battle titans while hoverpacking, but there are a ton of downsides. Hunters will hit you out of the sky or hit you in the sky constantly, doing a ton of damage, and bugs will wait for you to land and congratulate you back to the surface of the earth where they're about to maul you to death. So bring gas grenades if you rock this, that way you can toss them on the ground. I think that they should make it so the hoverpack and jetpack are combined into one backpack. You can toggle the mode to just make it far more valuable. Dynamite. Medium pin does a lot of damage. It has a pretty massive blast radius. You're kind of nerfing yourself by bringing this, so if I'm talking about usefulness, it's not very high. It's definitely kind of interesting. I wish we had dynamite that you could place down and set a timer and roll out some string and then freaking detonate it. Maybe make that like a side objective, I don't know, using old war technology for it or something. And sample extractor. Large enemies now have a small chance of dropping samples on death, capped at 10 drops per mission. So you don't kill enemies and go and check their bodies in Helldivers 2. That doesn't happen. So having to do that to find the samples that may or may not drop is kind of excessive. I think it'd be way better if you could kill large enemies and it just give you the sample or something. Overall, this warbond, I would say it's pretty mid. I'm gonna go with D tier. 100%. Truth Enforcers. Oh, how I miss ye. Not really. Dead Sprint. When you're sprinting and you run out of stamina, you can keep sprinting, but you start losing HP. Halt Shotgun is overhyped as all get out. You can switch between stun rounds and medium penetration rounds. But to do that effectively, you have to change a keybind. That's kind of weird to mess around with. I don't love the idea of that. I wish there was a dedicated button for it. It's way better off using a multitude of other guns. Cookout, for instance. A Reprimand. When it first launched, people were sitting there saying, the gun's amazing, even though it had 50 spread, but they made the drag worse by a decent margin. So now you can't really play it the way that I enjoy playing it, which is kind of like a budget sniper in a sense. Like using it the way that you're intended to, which is sort of spraying at things that are close quarters. It takes forever to kill stuff. It takes you like 10 bullets to kill a Devastator, unless you go for a headshot, in which case it's one shot. But if you're going for headshots, if you're being a marksman, use a marksman rifle. Also, Reprimand's a two-handed SMG. That never made sense. If it was one-handed and you could use Ballistic Shield, it would be sick. Genuinely, that would be phenomenal, because then you're using it in the close quarters and you're also blocking shots, one-tapping Devastators, moving like a freaking fridge. But we can't have that, because it'd be too good, guys. It'd be way too good. Make the game too easy. Armor, Unflinching. It got buffed recently. Helps prevent Helldivers from flinching when hit. Provides a higher armor rating. I mean, armor doesn't change a whole lot. In this game, wearing 50 armor to 200 armor, you can still get 2 to 3 shot. And markers placed on the map will generate radar scans every 2 seconds. Like, that's actually pretty good. The Loyalist is a budget version of the Purifier. I'll give the Warbond a C tier. Chemical Agents. The armor provides 80% resistance to gas damage and effects. If you're wearing a heavy armor with Fatality Booster, it mitigates the effects of gas damage entirely. Gas grenades are the single best grenade in the entire game. It's not even close because they concuss so many enemies. Chargers, Hulks, Meat Bobs, and everything below those guys will get concussed and also take damage. Well, I don't know why they made gas the way it is right now, but it is one of the best grenades in the entire game. It's good against every single faction, including automatons. Now, granted, sometimes you're playing as the Terminids, you throw a gas grenade, and they still aimbot you as if they're like, oh, I'm confused, just kidding, and they just murk you down. Aside from that, it's crazy how impactful this grenade is. The Sterilizer, this is one of the worst stratagems of the entire game. It just doesn't do anything. Stim Pistol. It needs to have less sway. They made it worse again. I don't get it. When this thing first launched, it had 30 spread, which was hilariously ridiculous because it just means that you aim at a teammate that's moving and you're moving, you're never hitting them. They just simply die. And mind you, in this game, we die so fast that even if you stim pistol your teammate, they're likely to get killed through it. So the only real use of stim pistol currently is for challenge runs for fun, and or you're trying to keep a teammate alive that uses the double-edged sickle. Guard Dog Dog Breath. I think that this is definitely more impactful than the Sterilizer. I'll give it B tier, only because of gas grenades. If it wasn't for that, D tier. Viper Commandos. Liberator Carbine. If you like the Stalwart, this is a molecular version of the Stalwart. It has similar stats, but just way less ammunition. So if you enjoy that playstyle, go crazy, have a blast. It's still an assault rifle, and as we know, those are buns at the moment. Peak Physique gives you a 100% increased melee damage, making it so your damage is just better for melee. The main reason folks use it is improves weapons handling with less drag on weapon movement. It improves your ergonomics by around 30. That's pretty good, but I don't love the idea of making armor that makes weapons that have terrible ergonomics feel a bit better because you could just simply make them not have terrible ergonomics to begin with. But we'll ignore that. The Bushwhacker. It staggers/stuns enemies. It's a sidearm shotgun. It's kind of cute. That's it. Not gonna say. Then we have throwing knives. If they didn't throw cattywampus-like, these would be very freaking fun to use. And experimental infusion. This booster is one of the best in the entire game, but one thing I've noticed that I don't like recently, maybe it's always been a thing, when you stim with this booster, it changes the hue of your screen to be a disgusting color. If you're on an already somewhat orange map, pop this stim with this booster, you go into Cheeto mode. Why is my screen just, it's almost like dang near red all of a sudden? That's not immersive. It just makes the game look terrible. I'd say Viper Commandos is D tier. Folks are gonna like that. Nope. Polar Patriots. Tenderizer. Another assault rifle. Bro, assault rifles are so hard to really sit there and sell to people unless they're already indoctrinated into Helldivers 2 and the idea of just liking everything, because if you don't, you're a dissident. Motivational shocks. Yeah, it just makes it so you can recover faster from being slowed by acid spew from Battle Titans. Even when they miss you, they slow you down. That's what this would help you with. Pummeler, a stun SMG. At the moment, stuns are currently bugged. In a 4-man group, they trigger what seems to be twice as fast as they would when you're playing solo. So if you're in a 4-man group, the gun's kind of fun. You stun an enemy, pull out a talon, one shot at the stalker. Neat little gameplay loop. I still wouldn't say it's a good gun though. And the Incendiary Impact, I like it. And the Purifier, one of the best guns in the entire game, one of the best primaries in the entire game. It's so powerful that it kind of makes some support weapons feel weak. This gun initially came out and was terrible. And I said something. I said, that gun's garbage. We should do something about it. And the cool thing is you can charge your shots and do big damage, or you can rapid fire and do decent damage as well. Verdict. It's just another sidearm that does okay damage. Because of the Purifier, this Warbond is A tier. Masters of Ceremony. The Amendment. First launched with twice as bad ergonomics, making it handle like an absolute terrible gun. But as usual, folks said, nah, man, the gun's fantastic. Just get better. Now it has better ergonomics and it feels fun to shoot. I think it's a downgrade from the Diligence. It does more damage, but the damage doesn't really mean much in this case. It's only like 40 something more damage than Diligence. Diligence has 5 more shots and better ergonomics. And plus, you can't really change anything on Amendment aside from the scope. The armor was also changed. Increased reload speed of primary weapons by 30%. Gives wearer a 50% chance to avoid grievous limb injury and increase melee damage by 50%. This was the first time we saw armor that just had half the value of a other perk, in this case being the melee damage, which I don't like. Just give it 100% melee damage. The Warbond itself has a ton of melee weapons. Anyway, the cutlass is kind of neat. For a melee weapon, it's kind of fun to sit there and just spam attacks. And when you're using a shield and you have the cutlass, it's on your back. The weapon looks cool, but melee in this game isn't that good. So the one true flag, everyone was expecting it to have some effect when you plant it. It's just a worse version of the stun lance. Sample scanner gives Helldivers a 15% chance to retrieve twice the samples on sample pickup. I like this because I like samples, but we need missions that give us a bunch of samples in a condensed location like we had with Retrieve Essential Personnel. Pyrotech Grenade. What it does is, as it spins, it's emitting thermite sparks, which do a lot of damage and have a very high penetration level. So you can kill Hulks with this. You basically get heavy pen, if not higher, with this grenade, with spinning. And then it also leaves a fire trail behind. Now the fire trail isn't that big. I like it, but I got a problem. They released this grenade. Folks are using it to kill factory striders by throwing it at their feet, occasionally in only 2 grenade throws. They didn't nerf the grenade, but they nerfed a tech you could do with a grenade. It's kind of lame, Arrowhead. Y'all keep doing that, bro. Overall, I give this Warbond D tier. Force of Law, the most recent Warbond that I'm fairly certain is going to be nerfed into the ground because this grenade launcher is doing basically more damage than the regular grenade launcher while also stunning enemies. De-escalator is pretty sick at the moment because in a group you can kill Bile Titans in 5 or 6 shots through their armor, hitting them in the face and the thorax and whatnot. Kill Hulks to their visor in 2 shots, sometimes 1. It's weird how that works. And it just does pretty good damage while also seizing enemies. The downside is the reload speed is atrocious. There is no speed loader. And by the way, speed loaders exist for grenade launchers. Google it. 40mm grenade launcher, speed loader. Stun pods is as bad as the fire pods. You toss in any stratagem that lands, that has a pod to it, and it will stun the surrounding area. AMA, ballistic padding, provides 25% resistance to chest damage and explosive damage. Urchin grenade. I had somebody in my lobby tell me that, yeah, the urchin grenade is a better version of thermite. It wasn't rage bait. They weren't talking to me. They were talking to their teammate, their homie. And they were lying to them in cold blood. Can you imagine that? Helldivers 2 has done such a bad job of brainwashing players, or such a good job, that now they lie to their friends, to their faces. Pacifier. It is an AR that does the least damage in the entire game. I think it has... If folks are being spreadsheet warriors, as far as I remember reading, if you compare its overall damage output, it's the lowest out of every AR by a lot. Like dang near 10,000 damage. But I'm not a spreadsheet warrior, so I forget how that stuff works. It's just not fun to shoot. Guard Dog K9. People call it the TK9000. Because what's going to happen is, you have a backpack with an arc thrower that we all know alone in a player's hand is a team killing machine, but at least they have the ability to stop firing it. They can choose where to aim it, where not to aim it, when to fire it, the whole 9. With the backpack, you can put it away, sure, but you can't tell it where to fire and what to aim at. Because anytime there's you, an enemy, and your teammate, it'll shoot the enemy and the arc goes 50-something meters. They're dead. Almost every time. This Warbond is F tier. And the reason why I'm saying that is because De-escalator is going to get nerfed. I can almost guarantee it. Killzone 2 Collab. I don't think y'all can get it right, meow, but here's what it has. Accelerator rifle. It shoots in bursts of 3. You charge your shot. Takes a whole 0.2 seconds. Does a ton of damage because it shoots in a burst of 3 shots. Downside, there is no faction where this gun shines. Because you only get 3 shots. Reload simulation. And you can't change away from burst mode. The only enemies you kill very quickly would be Alpha Commanders, but there's usually a ton of those guys, so Impalers die fast. That's awesome. It needs more ammunition per magazine. And if you could toggle into a single fire mode and charge longer, I'd take that in a heartbeat. Hitting 3 shots from a burst is a nightmare. I should mention right now that everything in the Killzone 2 collab cannot be customized. At least not right now. It's 11 SMG, 70 damage, 48 capacity, light pin. That means that an upgraded Night SMG is a better gun, and an upgraded Defender is a better gun. You'll have more ammunition. The Stuff 52 Assault Rifle, 80 damage, 56 capacity, light armor pin, and 14 recoil. Liberator will be a better gun once you get the drum magazine. I have no idea what the durable damage is, but I do know they're assault rifles, and it's not going to be very high. So it's not going to be anything crazy. WASP is a lock-on launcher that requires a target to shoot homing missiles at. You have 7 of those, by the way. It says it's anti-tank. That seems to be a little bit of a fib. And it has a backpack with a stationary reload and only 5 reloads for the gun. It doesn't do very much damage to the majority of enemies in the entire game. There's 2 exceptions. It's very impactful against overseers if the shot you shoot lands on it. Imagine you have mail going to your house and you get a phone call saying, hey, we don't know the address. That's happening in real time, except there's no phone call and the shot just doesn't hit the target. Now, if you do hit an overseer, it dies in 1 hit, which is freaking amazing because those guys are tanky. And it also kills the meat bobs very fast. It's 4 to 5 shots, which is good if you know how beefy those things are. The armor comes with the acclimated passive, provides 50% resistance to fire, gas, acid, and electrical damage. Only having that perk makes the armor kind of not very good. And there's no scenario in which you really need to have all of these resistances. I would say this Warbond is D tier, considering how lackluster everything it has is. And the fact you can't customize any of the primary weapons is ridiculous. It's kind of lame. But that's my ranking of the Warbonds. Hopefully it helps you in some way. I will definitely show you guys their positioning at the start of the video because nobody has time to watch an hour-long video. And if you do, appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Laters.